Three, two, one. Hey, Internet friends, this is MagicBrad with Synergy Cafe and now being rebranded into The MagicBrad Show. Thought I'd place myself up in front. And I've got a new friend online here, and his name is Brandon. And the last name, I think it's Amoroso. Am I right?
Yeah, that's
Is
good.
that Italian?
It is.
See, how did I know? Bada bing, bada boom. So, Brandon, I don't do these real long because everybody has that commodity of time. We don't want to take too much of their time, but we want to get to know who you are and what you do and all that kind of thing. So, you're out in West Coast. You said San Diego, right?
Yeah, we're split between LA and San Diego, about 50-50.
Okay.
The team is currently.
So you're young. Do you married and got kids and all that kind of thing, or you're still living at
No,
home?
no, definitely not living at home, but also definitely not married and definitely no kids.
There you go. That happens. I don't have any kids
Mm-hmm.
either, but I did get married. She's got one. So,
Yeah, I mean, I just turned 23, so still pretty far off for me.
you know, I'm 63. So that's basically 3 times. I've been here 3 times as long as you have. But what I'm finding with my online marketing is the unlearning, because I've got these old
Mm-hmm.
ways of thinking, and the whole concept of marketing has changed immensely. And, you know, it used to be back in my day, there was like, as far as TV, there was channel 2, 4, 5, 9, and 11. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
And then we had a few radio stations that were local. And then you had good old direct mail. And that was kind of about all there really was. And
Mm-hmm.
you kind of did your ad, and you had a graphic design person kind of do it for you. And then you gave it to the people and you put it in the magazine, and it was like done. And now everything's all dynamic and always changing, where you can kind of be on the
Yep.
pulse. And you guys, your younger generation, you're not a millennial, right? You're kind of like the next level.
Yeah, we're after that. So we're in the we don't put ourselves in the millennial bracket. We're Gen Z. So I think Gen Z starts 1996 or after.
Well, now that we're all done with the alphabet, what's the next thing going to be? You got to start over, Gen AA?
I don't know, but the group after Gen Z is even more technologically like wired in. It's really crazy.
The whole AI thing is popping up all over the place. It's getting, I don't know. I go back and forth with it because I get these autoresponder kind of things, and I'm going like, you're not even the real person, but you're answering my questions. And I remember
Mm-hmm.
earlier when I had my office out of my home, I lived in a different area, and I got on the phone with somebody. She was answering all my questions, and then it went so long, it went to a loop where she was answering those same questions again, asking the same question. And I go, you're not even a real person. It was pretty fascinating because I was convinced she was a real deal, and it was not. It's fascinating.
Just give it a couple of years and it'll work perfectly probably.
Well, you know, somewhat on that topic, the consumers have this, I don't want you to follow me. I don't want you to know who I am, and quit doing all that retargeting and all that. But we've been doing it forever. You walk into the grocery store and you got your little bar-coded thing. You want your
Mm-hmm.
points, and you get your points. We've been tracking what you've been buying forever. I mean, that's just the
Yeah.
way that marketing is. So let's talk a little bit about your generation doing this marketing thing, because it's, like I said, it's flip-flopped. It used to be broadcasting. You want to reach a lot of people. Now it's more narrowcasting. I want to reach the 53-year-old woman that has 2 kids and likes yoga and surfing and shops at 12 p.m. at Target.
Mm-hmm.
It's a different world now, right?
Yeah, you're able to be a lot more efficient with your advertising spend for sure, and you're also able to measure ROI a lot easier. I mean, before you could, even still today with like print media, it's very difficult to back that out to an actual ROI. Whereas if you run a digital ad with everything being cookied and tracked, it's much easier to then allocate budget efficiently because you have instantaneous feedback on whether or not something's working or not.
And scale that up. And
Yeah.
you never could do that with, like, you placed an ad. You couldn't say, hey, could you send out 100,000 more newspapers?
Yeah, exactly.
Really,
It's a great thing for good marketers because it's a lot easier to differentiate yourself now because it's just in the numbers and there's not a lot of gray area. But before, let's say like 20 years ago, it all just sort of came down to, oh, did it look good? Do we think it performed well? there's less hard facts that you could go off of.
Well, I know that there's some old fogies like myself. I'm in the event business previous to the
Hmm.
online world, and there was a company that did party supplies and things. And the old guy, he said he just placed a bunch of money into a radio ad.
Yep.
How do you track that? You could put that same money into something and do like a split test kind of thing and say, holy smokes, this is working. We're going to reallocate the budget into this thing that's working. And you guys understand how to do all that stuff. Quite honestly, my brain gets fried when I start thinking about Facebook pixels and tracking and retargeting. And so it's best to outsource to people like you that kind of understand that combination.
Yeah, that's how we position ourselves. You're getting the digital know-how of our age group, but also, despite how young we are, we're still very professional, and so the responsiveness and the attention to detail and all of that still goes hand in hand. And so we like to think of it as the best of both worlds.
It's a
Because
different
brands,
world we live in now, in that it used to be all geared by dollar per hour and if you had a degree and all that kind of stuff. And nowadays, if you can get it all done in 15 minutes and you make me $100,000, I don't care how long you work, you know? It ends up being, I'm willing to pay you for what you find in return. Like I just read an article that some of the big brands, like even Coca-Cola, are moving away from Facebook because of all the chaos and argument going on. They're going into an affiliate marketing model where they have affiliates doing the marketing and they don't have to really pay for anything until they get a result. So you can show people how you'll get results, and people go to that shopping cart and cash out before they even have to start investing into your services, right?
Yeah.
I think that's fascinating because you can see the graphics. You can do some tests and stuff with a few $100 and see, hey, this is working. Let's ramp it up a little bit.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
so much easier to start a business nowadays too.
Oh, it is. And I was just going to mention that there's a lot of people out there that they go, hey, I know how to do Facebook. I can do Pinterest. I can do Instagram. I'll start myself a marketing agency. And they're just posting stuff out there and charging businesses a lot of money for not really providing results. I looked on your website and looks like you encompass the video marketing and the email marketing and the pay-per-click advertising and all that kind of stuff. So that's a little bit different than someone that just thinks they're good at it, right?
Yeah, I mean, we started as just SEO focused and content creation because that was more of my background. And then as we grew, we would basically use part-time contractors to help out with additional services we were adding on. And because we have bootstrapped the whole company until the point where there was enough client demand and revenue to bring that in-house. So now it's me and 5 others, and I sort of act as like a part-time employee for all of our partners, but then leveraging the combined expertise of our entire team. So we have a website developer. So the way I phrase it is, before I was sort of acting as like a solo growth marketer, and I was doing some things really well, like content creation, SEO, marketing automation. Those would be 10 out of 10. But things like website development would probably be 8 out of 10 because I can do it, yes, but I'm not an expert in it. But now, as we've been able to grow and scale, we now have that point person for website development who can give you an 11 out of 10 on website development. And then we have a social media person who can give you 11 out of 10 on social media. But then I'm still there to oversee everything and create that overarching strategy in conjunction with the team members from our partners' businesses. So it's honestly become a lot more fun because I'm spending the time working on the 2 or 3 areas that I'm really good at, and then leveraging the team around me to be able to focus on those other areas. And so we're just going to continue to scale that way.
You're obviously wise enough to know that you should be outsourcing something that you're not good at. I think being a self-employed entrepreneur, sometimes you want to wear all the hats, but these days it's very complex, especially something like SEO. If I'm working on my business, say I got a landscaping business, I should be landscaping for my customers. I shouldn't be working, trying to figure out how to optimize it and get the jobs. Because people like you, especially you younger folk, you understand that SEO thing, and you can't just put up keywords and then ta-da, because they change all the time. The algorithm, you got to have your finger on the pulse of what Google's doing, right? You got to kind of check in once in a while and see what's the next
from
animal.
an agency perspective. I think outsourcing was fine up until a point, but I've been much happier being able to bring it in-house now with
Yeah.
full-time employees for us. But then from the other businesses perspectives, I think it makes a lot of sense to outsource to someone like us, because you're getting that combined expertise from us. And then typically we cost less than a full-time marketing employee would. And even if we do cost the same as a full-time marketing employee, we're able to produce results that no one person will ever be able to do by themselves, because you get the whole effect of having the team and the point people that are experts in those specific areas.
I think it's also really important that you have your in-house people, because I've seen situations where a major corporation will hire a major ad agency that then delegates it to somebody over in Singapore, and they're doing whatever. And it
Mm-hmm.
doesn't, they know, why did my account get shut down? Because you bought all those clicks.
Yeah.
So keeping it in-house,
Yeah,
you kind of keep it control of your people, right?
Yeah, we got a new client a couple of months ago who was paying somebody for SEO work, and then they would log on to their Shopify account and they would see a bunch of logins from somewhere in like Southeast Asia. And the company that they had hired was in New York, and they were paying the New York company like $3,000 or $4,000 a month, and then the New York company was just shuttling it over for $200 to $300 a month to some outsourced company overseas, which is great for them in terms of profit. Like they're doing literally nothing, and they're making like $3,500 a month, but then they're not producing the results. So obviously,
Yeah,
the
they're taking
relationship didn't last.
that $3,000 and they're buying a bunch of stuff on Fiverr.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm savvy to it. With my magic background, I can kind of see behind the curtain, A lot of that crazy stuff's going on.
yeah.
So is there a specific niche or type of people that you like to work for? Is it more in like the health and wellness realm versus exotic cars versus pharmaceutical, or
Yeah,
is there a specific
it's more
type?
so consumer packaged goods, e-commerce. So we'll work with coffee companies, wine companies, nutrition companies, sports supplements companies, anything consumable. That's where I'd say about 50% of our partners are in. And then we've also recently started to work with a lot more B2B businesses. And that has been interesting because we're actually able to, I mean, it's different with the e-commerce. You're looking for scale, like you need a lot of people to go into that funnel to be able to make that profitable. But with B2B, if we close 1 or 2 deals for our clients, we pay for ourselves like 20x basically, because the deals are worth so much more.
Right.
And it's really interesting how, I mean, you're still nurturing a potential customer from the time they get on your website, but there's different tactics and strategies that go into it for B2B versus B2C.
Oh, totally.
So,
Yeah,
and the handoff from marketing to sales is much more important for a B2B company. And then the integrations with like from HubSpot to Salesforce has been something that I've enjoyed working with.
Yeah, I was thinking that similar thing with the B2B, like with when I learned that Coca-Cola was using affiliate marketers, I was thinking, why would an affiliate marketer, that's a small commission, selling a can of soda. And then I started thinking with my event background, what the affiliate marketer probably is doing is trying to get the contract for the Minneapolis Convention Center. So if Coca-Cola got that and they push Pepsi out, that could be a lot of money. So I could see how they could use that. It's more of a B2B strategy rather than a consumer single can of Coke deal. Totally get that. So I had another question, and it was one of those ones that you don't probably experience this, but as older folks, we forget about things. I had another. Oh, I know. I was going to say that with the wine companies, that must be advantageous for you because you live in San Diego, which is near Temecula, and isn't that like a big wine country out there?
Yeah. So most of the wine stores that we work with, they're private label brands, and so they're all direct to consumer e-commerce. They don't have any physical stores, and so they're bringing in wine from all across the world. So I'd say about 40 to 50% of their wines are actually from California, just because they're in the U.S. and California has the most and probably the best wine in the U.S. And then a lot of it will come from Italy and France and Spain as well.
Okay. Yeah, because I know a lot of the wineries, they end up doing, they do tours and things. So that in the event business, they do the group tours, or they put a company on a couple of motor coaches and take them out and do
Mhm.
little wine tastings and all
Yeah,
that?
so we don't currently work with any wineries. We work with the brands online that then sell a bunch of different wines from wineries across the
Okay.
world. But the wineries themselves, um, that's definitely a more like personalized and curated experience. And wine tourism is something that's really big for them. And then each
Yep.
winery I'm looking at now is starting to move more and more into direct to consumer. So having like a mailing list, having people who will just order from them directly, and they're really
Mhm.
cutting out that middleman of the wholesaler and then going to the retailer. And so it's interesting.
Well, I'm
There's
looking at
definitely.
it again from the event aspect of things where say like up in Minneapolis here, we got a lot of corporations like Target, Medtronic, 3M, Pillsbury, General Mills, Cargill,
Mhm.
all those corporations. What they end up doing sometimes is incentive trips where the upper management gets to take a trip down to say Temecula, California and go on a winery tour and experience Disneyland and all this stuff. And they put them on these big motor coaches and shuttle them
Mhm.
all in. And then maybe they would buy cases of wine for all these different top salespeople to be able to ship back to Minneapolis.
Yeah, there's definitely in the event space, wine is really big, and so we're actually building out a little module right now for one of our client sites that if you're hosting an event, you sort of give us the details on what that event is, how many people will be there, and then it'll come back to you with the recommended um, products that you would need to buy, how many bottles you're going to need, what types, and then what sort of volume discount you're going to get because
Sure.
you're ordering whatever it may be, like 20 cases at a time.
Yeah, that the event business was, I was going at it big time. I do an event expo up here in Minneapolis and I just
Okay.
finished it March 3rd or March 4th. And then this
It's a good
COVID
good
thing
time
happened.
good time to finish it.
Exactly. All the events came to a screeching halt. So that's why I got into more online affiliate marketing because I just had to do
Mhm.
something because the events are they'll come back. But right now, everybody's 6 feet
Yeah,
apart.
I'm looking forward to them coming back. We had like the HubSpot conference out in Boston we were supposed to go to in August. We were supposed to go to Expo West, which is really big for uh, the health and wellness and
Right.
consumer packaged goods industry, and that got canceled too.
That's a
Um,
natural product show.
yeah, yeah. Expo West and Expo East are probably the two biggest, at
Yep.
least in the U.S. But unfortunately, Expo West was canceled, and it stinks because we were going to get to interface with our current partners, but also prospect with new ones. And so I prefer the face-to-face over anything else.
I do too. A
And
lot gets done there.
getting out there and meeting people, it's a lot easier to talk and differentiate yourself that way than it is to do it over email. But that's sort of the challenge, especially for small business owners. A lot of them, you'll look at like their Shopify sites or whatever, and they have really cool stories when you talk to them. But you go
Mhm.
to their website and you're like, why would I buy from you? There's none of what you're telling me in that direct conversation. You're not expressing it online in an effective way. And so
Yep.
that's part of being able to put your brand story out there online so people can latch onto that. And you're going to be paying a premium. Like almost anything would be cheaper to go buy it at like Target or an Amazon. And so for the smaller businesses, you have to position yourselves and explain why people would want to pay for your premium.
Yep.
Um, and so that's been something that we work on with our clients a lot.
Yeah, just yesterday I interviewed a guy from Arizona that's his company is he creates story or not didn't create stories, but he documents the stories and helps people through that for the company to tell a story. Because especially
Hmm.
these days, when you're on the internet and you have access to everything, the only thing that separates you is your own personal story. Makes you
Right.
different from everybody else, and that's who you end up
I
resonating
mean,
with.
people shop experiences now more than they shop anything else. And so,
Especially your Jen.
yes, that is for
Yeah,
sure.
I don't need stuff. I want an experience. Exactly.
Yeah.
So, Brandon, I don't like to do these too long because people have that commodity of time. So I'm going to wrap
Yep.
this up. But before I do, is there anything, how do people get a hold of you? Do you have like a introductory consultation or something that they can register for and learn more about your business?
Yeah.
It?
On our website, we offer free consultations. And so we'll put together a site analysis and we'll go through and give you recommendations based on what we see with our clients. We're very open with that. And so anybody can go there to get in touch with us, or you can also reach out to me on LinkedIn too.
And your website address is spelt a little bit funny. So if you want to, if you got a
Yeah,
easier way to remember.
it's electric marketing, but it's a Q instead of a C at the end of electric. So
that's it. Just the switching the C for the Q, right?
yep. Or you can just Google me and I'll show up first. And so that's
So
how
it's
you
like
can find me.
French. You that trick, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, wonderful, Brandon. I'm going to take this and I'll zoom it up. There's been some issues with YouTube just today, I noticed. So I'm going to have I usually get these up in about an hour, but I'll get that up and get you a link to it and put your links in it, and we can share it out with the world and see what we can dig up.
Perfect. Sounds
So I
good.
appreciate you taking time, Brandon. Enjoy.
Yeah.
Peace.
Thanks for having me. Talk to you later.